Cool, cool. All right, all right. We are live. Welcome back to the Hot. Welcome back to the Hat Enough podcast. Try to do this at least once or twice a week. We are live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Hate the algorithm as much as I do. It helps us out. And also, please feel free to jump in the comments. I just make sure to keep the comments relevant to the subject, which you guys have done so far, so I appreciate it. Anyways, without further ado, when I represent, or I should say presents, my guest, he plays in a Tulsa rock band called Shelter in Place, and he also has his own solo acoustic project. I can't talk tonight. All right, welcome, Tyler Griese.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
How's it going? Glad to be on here. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I had someone ask me, he's like, so do you only interview rappers? And I'm like, bro, I've interviewed Dusty Grant twice, and he's an acoustic rock artist.
Hey, he's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love the new single they got out, too. Oceans is awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's dope. It's dope. So anyway, today's episode is called The Music versus the Industry, which is a subject we're going to break in pretty soon. I know this is like, shout out to Mosaic. Hey, he did both our videos.
Yeah, what's up, Mike?
Yeah.
He did an awesome job.
Oh, yeah.
Did he do Dusty Grant's video too?
No. I don't think so. Unless he drove out to Wichita to the video, but yeah. Also, to any new followers I've had, shout out to the Facebook Reels that pulled that off. But if you guys haven't heard, check out In Your Head. It's me and Tyler. You can find it on YouTube. Also, definitely check out Shelter in Place. They've got a new video they just put out not too long ago. And
yeah, you can find it on YouTube. It's called Be Free.
Yeah. And they're definitely killing it on the show circuit as well. So we'll start off. We'll start off the way I always started off. Tell everybody how you got into music.
All right. 1 second. Let me pull up this. I can't even look. Okay, well, honestly, man, music's always really been in my life. No matter like what I was doing, kind of if there was like a barbecue going on or just cleaning the house, simple things like that, there was always some kind of music. You know, my mom was really into, rock, like old, like 80s rock, 70s. And my stepdad at the time, he listened to more of, things along the lines of like Zapp and Roger and Prince and stuff like that. And so that's what I was really subjected to when I was young. But when I really got into music when I think about junior high, and everybody was listening to this band called Kill Switch Engage. And it was all the skater kids, like 2004, 2006 albums, that's what we were listening. They were listening to, and I really got into that, and it just kept getting more heavier and heavier over time, and started listening to, Asking Alexandria, We Came as Romans, and then stuff like that. Then time moved on. I moved a lot, is what it was. And so I never really got a grasp of what kind of music I really liked, because every time I moved, it was somebody else was putting me on to something else. You know what I'm saying? And after Kill Switch Engage, after I started listening to those guys, it was like I was trying to play that. Like I picked up a guitar and I was like trying to play those songs, and it just wasn't happening for me because I just wasn't good at all. And so then I reverted back to like punk music, more like Green Day, Blink-182, Simple Plan, stuff like that. And it was just a lot easier for me to pick up as, a beginner guitar player. But had been listening to those bands for so long, from junior high through high school, and kind of just started picking those up, and I didn't sing any at all. Like I couldn't sing any of the songs and play at the time, but I could play them. And then I think about 10th grade or so, uh, the my best friend, he was actually on the pep band, and he was on the drum line, and he was like, man, we need to start a band. Let's get a band, because there's there were shows and stuff happening at the time, and it was just like we didn't know any of these bands. We were still kids, like literally in 10th grade, going to like the theater in Blytheville, Arkansas, and then just watching these local bands that were coming and then playing. And so that's what we really wanted to do that. And that's where the oh man, let's start a band, let's get on a stage and do this, instead of just sitting in our rooms and playing, together. And so, we kind of formed it was just me and him for a long time, and then we found us a singer, and we kind of created a small little band, and the rest is history from there. It was just kind of like, how far can I take this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. So what was the first band that you started?
It was actually me, my friend Dustin, and my best friend TJ. He was the one in the band. It was we had the weirdest name. It was called To My Dear and Loving Heartache.
Nice.
It was super emo.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the screamo / post hardcore era.
Yeah, we were really into like The Used and The Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll admit that, man. I went through my phase of The Used. I still like The Used though. I know, like, man, I know, like, people say like the vocals are totally whiny and super emo, but man, they really made
It's
some
the
good songs.
emotion,
So yeah, if you can, what I mean, if you can overlook that part, the dude could really sing, and the band made some solid songs. So if you could just kind of like forget the subgenre that they were boxed in,
Mhm.
there was a lot of good musicianship that came out of that genre. I just think that the whole emo thing got such a bad rep, which, for decent reasons, but at the same time, like, I never liked Hawthorne Heights. I always thought that they were just way too over the top. Silverstein, kinda, it was like they made good songs. Like, if you, it was just like, not just the vocals, but the lyrics were so like over the top with the "I'm gonna cut my wrist because she broke my heart" kind of thing. So,
Right. Yeah.
but like, I don't know, but everyone's like kind of gone through like that phase. So, it's a guilty pleasure. So, and so, like, we're kind of, but it's yeah, but it's not it's a decent nostalgia of a time where we were a little bit more sensitive. But
Mhm.
but no, man, I remember, no, man, I remember that era pretty well. Poison the Well was a band I still like a lot from like that time period, and Kill Switch Engage I still like a lot. So it's funny because people forget that I like that kind of music sometimes. Like, people who've only known me a couple years, it was like, oh, I thought you
Right.
just dressed like it. I thought you like, some people
No,
think I just,
I've seen photos of you
yeah,
with when you're on stage with the band, and I'm like, man, I wish I was around when that was going on.
yeah, yeah. There's different elements of that time that I miss, and then there's other elements of that time that I don't miss. Um, I think the part I don't miss is having to do shows with band members that just you can't get along with,
Yeah.
no matter how hard you tried. It's just like, okay, we're gonna do the show, and you show up with a shitty attitude. Wow, this is gonna be fun.
Right. You're like, this is gonna be
I
just
look back on
okay.
that. I think that was my
What's up?
bit. That was, man. That was always looking back on that. That was. I just remember doing shows with band members who were like, "Man, I just don't want to be here," and I think that is one of the worst. that was one of, to me, I think one of the most disappointing things you'll ever hear from a musician that showed up to a show where there's a crowd of people.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean? And I think that was that was definitely one of the things that took me out of the whole like band life, was just because, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be fun and exciting all the time, but you got to look back on, you know, if you're showing up to a venue and there's nobody there, I get that. I've been
right.
there. And but I said, if you're showing up to a venue with, you know, a good crowd, and you're opening up for a well-established touring band, you know, you're in a position that so many musicians would die for. And just, so it's just, there just has to be some kind of appreciation that you have for like where you're at, you know. So I say, if you don't love doing it, then don't
Why
do it.
do it? Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, so when did you break into doing a solo act? Or is it for the same
Uh,
reason I did? Is just you just wanted time to yourself, just to express yourself, and just kind of have that moment.
yeah. I think it was, man, when I moved. Um, so let me give you a little backstory. I lived in Fayetteville for about 4 or 5 years, and I got in this band called Mississippi Dirt, and we were playing and we were getting the ball rolling, as people would say, and it was just getting to the point where I didn't want to do it. Like you were saying, like it was hard to be in bands with people that didn't want to do it, didn't want to practice, didn't want to. People would show up to practice and just have a shitty mood, and um, you were you're like, why are we here then? Like, why? Like, what's the point of this if you're just going to be mad all day or something like that? Or it would get to the point where we would get halfway through our set, and then it was like we were focusing on one part of one song so much because somebody couldn't do this or somebody couldn't do that, and it was just creating a funk. And it was just like, why don't we just move on to the next thing and worry about that later? And it just kind of festered so much that we
Mm-hmm.
um just we started hating each other, you know what I'm saying? And it was like the
Yep.
friendship was gone. It was more about, oh, we got to get this music, instead of the friendship that we had started, and why we really started doing what we were doing. And then so that kind of like went downhill for me, and then I moved to Tulsa area. I live in Henrietta, but
Yeah.
I say I'm from Tulsa, but I moved to Tulsa, and then I was like, man, I'm probably never going to be in another band again. The whole like, oh, my life is over because I'm not going to play music anymore. And that was not the case. And it was just a rut I was in for a while. And I sat around, I got an acoustic guitar, and I just sat around and started writing songs. And I never really put myself into my music. I was always in bands where the music was already there, and I just had to learn it, and I never really put my own feelings and emotions and stuff like that into my music. And I like to write poetry a lot, and so I started really taking my poetry and trying to make it music form. And then I just, it took me a long time to really find how I wanted to express that over. Like, did I want to be you know super fast, or did I want it to be melodic, and I wanted people to listen, you know what I mean? I wanted people to hear what I was saying, not more or less the music and how good it was, but more of, what's this guy trying to tell me, you know what I'm saying? What's he wanting me to understand that he sees in this world, you know what I'm saying? And so then I started, putting the lyrics in from my poetry, basically, with my music, and
Yeah.
just trying things out, really. Going to shows, people would ask me to play. You know I see you're on Facebook posting videos, you want to come out and play a show or something? And so I would go and play. And then from throughout time, my songs really evolved and kind of became what they are now. But I say that was, probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Right on. Right on. Yeah, man. That's to me, and I don't know if people really think about it this way. To me, when you go see a band, you're you're really, and it's the most like I want to say like most original and I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I hate to use the word old fashioned or old school. I would say when you go to see a band, you're basically seeing a group of buddies who came together and are making a song or making music, you know? So like it's just it's just the old fashioned way of a band was a bunch of friends who could play different instruments and one guy could sing. They came together and formed a band. So it's the most like it's it we always hear the story. It started in high school where a bunch of buddies got together. Like you hear the story about Blink 182, you hear the story about Nirvana, just to name a few. And and that's always because then you hear about bands that are formed by record labels.
Yeah.
And and then you hear about a lot of it where they had a singer or they had a pop singer and I was like, okay, we got to get a bunch of hired guns to
Right. Yeah.
to
Who's
be
the
your
best
backup band,
around?
but it's all like it's like it's an employee staff meeting though. It's a bunch of people who are just paid to be there versus a bunch of friends who got together, started a band, and then they took it somewhere where they all get paid together. Um, so that to me that's kind of where that commodity should always stay intact. So that's how I always looked at it, and so when you hear about bands that made it out of the garage or the storage unit, so to speak, that's kind of what you're witnessing. Now, best way I could kind of explain the solo part, or at least for my genre right now for hip hop, like my favorite my favorite hip hop shows is like when you see all these solo rappers and you see the DJ and all that. It's kind of they're in different projects or different music, but they're all friends. You can kind of tell in the room that they're all friends. They all hang out and
Right.
so they feel they're all part of this show. And I just think that's the most organic form of when you see live music is you see people who built this from like the grassroots, like the grassroots movement. Punk rock was built on that. So that's just something I've kind of always thought about. I don't know if anyone really talks about that because music has become so marginalized through the industry and stuff like that, and we just think, oh well, it's all a bunch of musicians who get paid to do it, and it's so much more deeper than that,
Yeah.
So
It is. It really is. You I feel like you said, people that are like hired guns, they're just there for a paycheck. It's not that
yeah,
you know, they're putting their all into this and their heart and soul into what they're doing. They're showing up at a job. They're clocking in and, oh, I'm gonna go to work, and then I play a couple songs and shake a couple hands and sign some autographs, and then I get my check, and then I just go on about my life.
hmm
Uh,
yeah, totally. So we'll break into the subject matter, the music versus the industry. You've done quite a few posts, I think, of lately. And I I haven't I've resisted every urge to like not go so I try not to rant so publicly unless I kind of have like a positive message to it. It's easy to rant on social media nowadays. So
yeah,
um but no man, I kind of feel like you and I have always like agreed about just wanting to be an artist and just wanting to have these opportunities. But it seems like it's because even though like the record labels are not as prevalent as they used to, like you can do so much independently. You know, we have, we all can get a DistroKid account and we can put our stuff on iTunes and
Yeah.
Spotify. You don't need a label to do that. You know what I mean? We can tour, we can do we can reach a fan base through social media. But now kind of like as the years have progressed, it's almost like you have so much that you have to do that is so like anti-artistic now,
Right.
so it doesn't feel as in order to be relevant, in order for anyone to know I even exist. Otherwise, I get buried in an algorithm.
Right. Exactly.
That's kind of how I felt about, and I play along as best as I can because I was like, well, it's either that or I can mesh it into what I do. I can mesh it into my style, but I'm not going to do a TikTok dance. That's where I
Right.
draw the
Yeah. Yeah.
line. that's,
Yeah.
that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but also like it's just definitely come to terms that we live in a pay to play industry. You find out about radio payola, even though they deny it, but it happens. Um, obviously tours and all kinds of stuff, and now we're able to move around the pay to play when it comes to shows. Just the more we kind of understand how to put a show together, the more people we know. But when you look at Spotify playlists and you look at all kinds of stuff, and now the good side about it is that if you're able to operate as your own personal business and you're able to invest as far as like merchandising, advertising and music videos and stuff like that. But still, it's like if you just say, "Hey, you know, I just want to do simple things," as far as increasing it, just everything seems to be a pay to play. I was
Right.
kind of curious on your thoughts of that. Like, at what point do you feel like, hey, it's good business for your band or for your music? And at what point do you feel like it's just the industry is just molesting our pockets until we have nothing left?
Well, I mean, like you said, like I'm not gonna do a TikTok dance
Yeah.
to get followers, and I'm not going to like I feel like kind of like I'm not gonna. I notice a lot of what bands that I have listened to over time, and how they've gotten, I guess, mainstream attention
Mhm.
is the way of they would like take somebody else's song and redo it
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
I've
they
done
would
that.
people would like, oh, I know this song, like this is great, and I love the way they do it, and like the way bands do it or artists, they do it well, but it's just like, did you do that because you wanted to, or did you do that because that was your ticket to, like, did the industry be like, hey, if you do this, it's going to get a lot of attention and it's going to make you famous, and then this is what's going to get attention to your band, and then people are going to listen to your music more now because what of this cover, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's where I feel like that's where you need to draw the line on things like that. Is like, I want to, I think bands should be known for, their music, and not, oh, have you heard of this band? And they did that cover of, oh yeah, I know who that's the only reason they would know that band. You know what I'm saying? Not for something that they did, or
Yeah.
some music they put out.
Well, see, like I was thinking about that too. Because if you go back, I don't want to say go back, but um, Marilyn Manson had Sweet Dreams. That's kind of what popped him out there. And then
Right,
Orgy did Blue Monday. I'm trying to think, and then as Zombie, and
right.
you could say that those covers, they all did it their way. Where I was like, okay,
For
this
sure.
is what we sound like. So this is us sounding like a song that we loved growing up, and it inspired us. I would say that's the main reason to do a cover. But and then break it down to the hip hop, we do remixes. Like we'll take like a Eminem or a Tupac beat and then do our own song over it. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
for
use the same chorus. I've done that on a couple occasions. I did a remix of "Sucker for Pain," which was from the Suicide Squad soundtrack, and I liked the song, and so I did a remix of that. And you know, there are a couple. You know what I mean? There was a couple I did, but you know what? I'm not known for that though. It's
right.
that's funny. I'm known for a song about drinking beer and talking shit, and I made that song.
Yeah,
I made it as a satire, but I made it a catchy song, and for the fun of it, then that's a song I kind of get attached to. I mean, there's a couple other songs I feel like on a more serious note, I might be, you know, people might re- recall as well, but that's another thing I learned is like you don't really sometimes you don't really have control on what people will put your band or your music in general, what they'll attach it to.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
like you know, Metallica's been around for what 50 years, and the songs that they really still get attached to are songs they put out. Well, you know what I mean? Like when they
Yeah.
maybe the first year they blew up and stuff like that. So like they always have to play the oldies, you know,
Oh yeah,
and they
that's
have
like. Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. And the same thing, Red Hot Chili Peppers, like I feel like they stood the test of time. I feel like they were able to like evolve and still
Oh, for sure.
over the years, but still a lot of their oldies are the ones that people still like, you know, attach them to. And like if you play a show and they don't play Under the Bridge or Give It Away, they you might have some disappointing fans. Disappointed fans, you know what I mean? So
Right.
um
That's like the Nirvana thing. You know, they when
uh-huh.
they on MTV, they were like, "Oh, you got to play the hits, man. You got to play the hits. You got to play all the songs that everybody wants to hear." You know, and they were just like, "We're just gonna play what we want to play." And I feel like that's,
Yeah.
you know, the way bands or any artist for real should go.
Mhm.
You know, like just do what you want to do, and if your fans are into it, then they'll enjoy it. But there's always, oh, they didn't play this song, so I'm not gonna go see them next time. There's always gonna be that type of thing. But
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So but yeah, man, that's kind of like just something I've always like thought about when it came to like music and then kind of how people kind of connect. But there's but kind of talking about like today and how do you feel about and not to put you on the spot, um what are the things you like and dislike about kind of the direction of like I wouldn't really say like the music scene, but just maybe just the industry in general. Like, what would you say like has helped like your band, and what would you say like has like felt like a roadblock?
uh, honestly, just being genuine people, has helped. A lot of people that I mean, anybody like in our band for real. They're just very genuine people, and they don't. You don't have to put on a face. You don't have to put on this rock star face.
Mhm,
You because we're just people. I mean,
mhm,
people. So I growing up, that's what I always thought. Like, oh, they're gods. They're rock gods. They're just so cool. They got so much going on. You just it's a I guess a facade. You know what I mean? That you get used to seeing all the time because that's the way you see it on TV. They're always skateboarding, or they're always doing something that you enjoy doing, but like there's so much, I guess, for lack of a better word, just better at what they're doing, and you just like forget that they're people. They're just normal people, and just being genuine. And then so when you meet that person, you're like, man, he was such a nice person. Like, uh, and I think a lot of people forget that, like, hey, we're just
Oh yeah.
people, and we just are expressing ourselves in music, and that's what I feel like helps a lot of artists in the most is just being genuine and just being yourself for real. You know, dislike being put in a box for real. Like, oh,
Oh yeah.
you're a rock band, but you can't cover this song because it's a punk song and you're a hard rock band. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't don't. That's what I feel like is a roadblock for real.
Mhm.
You should be able to express yourself the way you want to. Like I said, I feel like I'm contradicting myself when I say bands shouldn't do covers, or
Mhm.
known for covers, but like um yeah, definitely that's a roadblock. People don't
Yeah, I can.
don't put yourself in a box. That's what exactly. Like you
Yeah,
can you can do what you want to in your music and just yeah, don't put yourself in a box.
yeah, man. That was one thing I always liked about Kurt Cobain. Because the industry definitely like their label, they got him pretty big, and then you would think as big of a rock star as Kurt was projected to be. Every time you interviewed him, he was just chilling on a couch or he was hanging outside and just smoking a cigarette, and he
Hmm.
would spend just the whole time just saying like he not in, and I'm paraphrasing. He would just say, "Man, we really ain't shit. Like we're really he just says you know like it's cool. Like he's saying, oh, it's cool that I have this money. I have a daughter. I have a family.
Yeah,
That's cool. But he's just like I think in one interview and like I said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like he was saying, man, we're just kind of overrated. Like
right.
he just
Yeah.
said, yeah, we're a band, we're good, but it's just like we're not super gods. We're nothing.
Right.
We're just everyone's favorite scapegoat. I think that's kind of what he was saying. But yeah, man, he never sat there and go, yeah, bro, we're just so awesome and we're just so much better. And he was just yeah, man. He just it was kind of like his music career turned into something more than he thought it would. It didn't make him. It didn't make him look at himself any differently. It was more of like he was fighting against his own ego. In fact, Kirk from Metallica said in an interview that he spends his free time like at a ranch, like riding horses, and he actually said uh, in the interview that he's trying to find ways to shatter his ego.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
it's. I mean, unfortunately, the drummer didn't take his advice on that. You didn't hear that from me.
right.
Anyways, anyway, but no, man, I've always enjoyed that, and that's kind of what I enjoy about doing any kind of shows when I'm on the road, and that's why I don't mind the dive bars. That's why I like still doing local shows
Oh
because
yeah.
because it's like to me, it's like any type of confidence I have. Okay, I have a stage to express that. But when I'm off, so I get to have that moment, and then when I'm off stage, I can be like everybody else, and I enjoy that. I actually kind of enjoy being like everybody else. I don't know how to act otherwise. Um, you know, I don't. And even if I did know, it would just feel out of place because I don't. I personally don't ever want to. I don't ever want to be that. Um, you know, I
Me
I don't
either. Yeah. I'm with you
I
on that.
I don't want to be any different because I just feel like it would be just out of character for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I do, and so when I see interviews like from guys like Kurt Cobain, and then and how down to earth they are, it's kind of inspiring. So it's like, wow, you can be that huge and still just feel like you're the same person you were before. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
While we're
I feel
talking
that
about this was the conversation I really definitely were holding together because I told him I wanted to talk. I definitely want to talk about the industry and kind of all the kind of pay to play scenarios because I would tell young musicians this. I said, when you have a band or you're a solo artist, you gotta look at it. You are like a business owner. So
Yeah,
you
you're a
know,
product.
yeah, and you can be a brand and still be a human being. There's a misconception that once you become a brand, you're no longer a human being, but you can have both. It's just they both have two different placements. The way I look at it. So, but I try to look at it. There's areas where you're investing, and then and looking on that, making money back and making a profit, where you now have, as we always call, a band fund or a music fund. So now you can utilize that, uh, to the best of your ability. But there's also areas where you gotta be careful because there's areas of the industry where you know it's a pay to play, and the term pay to play, way I kind of look at it is meaning, I guess the best way I could explain it is just like, you know, there's areas where you can invest. Like if you were able to get on a tour with a bigger band or a bigger act, and you knew you're going to play sold out shows, and you knew you would sell merch, and that you would you would make a huge fan base. And to me, like that's an investment. I think like a something to consider pay to play is like you're literally paying just to exist on
Yeah,
this area. Like you literally have no way of making anything back. This could be literally you paying something just to get, and then you probably get nothing out of it. So you just be throwing money away. That's kind of how I always looked at it. But here's a subject I
hmm
really want to talk about because I don't really talk about it. I know you and I both grew up on MTV. I know
yeah.
I did. I was born the same year MTV. I'm old. So here's an interesting. I'm gonna make this a full screen so we can see it. When I talk about MTV, I was doing some research before we got on this. I was curious. Hey, did MTV pay the artists? Did they pay the did they pay the labels? Did they pay MTV? So check this out. Um, MTV actually never paid any of the artists for playing their music videos.
Well,
When it got big, playing music videos, it never paid musicians directly. Musicians were indirectly paid through album sales that increased as people saw the videos.
right.
And now another thing I read, I was reading, how did MTV fail? There was one article that said that they just couldn't compete with other channels, and which was kind of weird because it's like, hey, we're talking music. Like the only,
Right,
I mean, VH1 was doing it, but it just wasn't at the capacity that MTV was doing it. I felt,
right.
but what I read was it had something to do with licensing fees, and so what I basically read though was that MTV and this could now I'm just putting this out there. I'm not trying to put out misinformation. This is just I could be this article could be wrong. I don't know the people at MTV. This is just what I read. So just want to put that out there before anyone tries to say something about that. But from what I've read, MTV was a pay to play program um, that record labels and producers, and they were literally paying MTV to play their music. And but the thing about it was is that MTV was very popular. There was a lot of bands and artists that probably you and I discovered through MTV.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this is the funny part. Here's the word that us musicians hate to hear. MTV was exposure.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that word has been shoved down our throats for as long
Forever.
as I can remember. But
You're right.
but but on the flip side, MTV really was. And
Yeah,
so
no, I totally see that.
so from what I'm reading here, it's like it's like MTV is like, okay, well, we're not going to pay you or your label for us to use, to play your music video. However, the exposure will give you more record sales. Now, whether that actually happened or not, I mean, I don't think we know. I mean, we could say, hey, MTV playing your music video got you more record sales, probably got you more fans. It's a possibility. But yeah. But yeah, it just from that article, it just seems like they definitely went to play hardball on that. I was like, nope, we're not going to pay you. So, but
you're just
you'll sell records
SOL.
off our TV show, off our
Yeah.
TV channel, our TV network. If not, fuck you.
If you flop, you
But yeah,
flop. If you don't, you don't.
yeah. Another thing I read, I don't know which one's true because I don't know. I wasn't there, so all I know is what I read off of articles. And the record labels were actually expecting MTV to pay licensing, and then MTV wasn't. So record labels felt like they're just giving their artists away for MTV to make all the ad money and so forth. Yeah, YouTube
Sure,
definitely replaced MTV. So I love paying it right with all my exposure. But
that's great.
yeah, and then so they just said, well, but for what I heard is a lot of the music videos they end up giving to VH1 because VH1's licensing fees were lower. So that was another thing I heard. I don't, like I said, I don't know the truth. All I know is these are just little articles, so they could be theories for all I know. But yeah, that's the because the funny thing is that someone told me that the other day. It's like, don't you wish MTV was still around? And because don't you think you would get like you would attract so much more people and probably make more money and all that and probably have a bigger fan base? And I just said, yeah, but who watches TV anymore other than
Yeah.
Netflix? Other than Roku, which I've gotten music, I've gotten some of my music videos on Roku before, but I've never gotten a message from somebody to say, hey, I love your music. I saw you on Roku.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that do watch it, and maybe it's just kind of like those news articles. Maybe you pay a certain amount of money to get like a certain time frame or something like that, like prime time. Um, Fuck, I don't know. I knew somebody who could do it, and then he just said, hey, I usually charge, but for this first time, I'll put your video Thought Criminal on this Roku. I was like, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
we'll see what it does. So you know what I mean. But I don't know. Roku might be a thing or something like that. There might be a whole audience for it. I just don't know much about it. It's not something I watch, and so you know, man, I'm just kind of like if I don't know enough about the audience or the market, I don't. Yeah, that's kind of where I get iffy about if I'm going to invest as far as getting on a certain platform, so to speak.
Right.
You know,
I
I
feel like
gave. Oh, go ahead.
this might be off topic, but I feel like MTV really like, um, you know, because I watched a lot of like MTV and Fuse, and so like I was seeing, they would have on Fuse, they would have like a block of like a certain artist, and then they would have like I forgot what it was called. I think it was called Loaded. I don't know if
Yeah,
you ever watched that. They would have like a block of certain artists, and then they would just show all their music videos for like 30 minutes. And I MTV just like, I feel like they got away from what they were music television, like, but then it started turning into this like
reality TV.
reality. Yeah, reality. It was very much like that when they started to come out with like Next and Teen Mom and stuff like that. That's where I feel like MTV just kind of
I
lost
think.
the whole.
Well, I think MTV had a good balance because Beavis and Butthead was the audience for Beavis and Butthead were basically like you and I. TV, a mindless cartoon that was funny but kind of fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
And then they were playing music videos, so they had it where they was so funny. I just thought of this right now. Like Beavis and Butthead actually did the music video reactions before that was a thing, because now that's a thing on YouTube. You could
Mhm.
actually get like a lot of new fans or a lot of new viewers through if you get like a react like a content creator on YouTube who does reactions. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what Beavis and Butthead did. Like you're watching a Black Sabbath or a Megadeth music video, but you're constantly getting interrupted by what Beavis and Butthead saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they made like that work. And then they did, I think, was it Diana, which I didn't care for that show. Um, and then the Real World was something they did early on, but I feel like that show was something where they said, okay, our target audience is like teenagers and like the generation at the time. And so Real World was, I felt at the time, appropriate. And then they try to kind of keep that going. And then I guess once they lost the ability to do videos, because I think because from what I read, they were raising their licensing fees, and then labels were just like, hey, we're not paying that. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
They're
but,
like, yeah, we don't.
so I
We're
don't know
already
how much,
losing.
yeah, I don't know how much like MTV, like if their downfall was really their fault or if it's just maybe,
They just
maybe
went in a
just,
different direction, maybe. Just like
I think so.
this wasn't for us, right? I mean, at this time,
Yeah.
right now, you know, like
Yeah.
we've already beat this dead horse already enough.
That's pretty much how I looked at it, you know. And then the internet came around, and then you don't have to wait for the video you hope to see. You can now you
Right?
can
Yeah, you
pick and
can look it
choose.
up. Yeah, you can choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. Talk about how Shelter in Place got started.
All right. Let me 1 second. Let me grab a smoke real quick.
Okay. All right. Well, he goes grabs a smoke. If you guys got some input, we got a little time. Okay. That was a quick. That was quick. He really wanted that smoke.
Oh no, I had to just go get them. um. All right, shelter in place. Oh, well, shelter in place kind of goes back a little, like three or so years. We've only really been, like I guess relevant if you would say, but for about a year or two. But me and Shane, man, Shane Diego, he's my best friend. If you're watching this, man, I love you. Fucking, we were in separate bands and we were playing around in Fort Smith and uh we just I think we were or I was at my band I was in, we were opening for Blacktop Mojo and Shane was like, "Hey man, y'all mind if I roadie for you? Like, come hang out just, backstage and see what's going on at Temple Live." Because it was just like it was the coolest place, to play, and it just had, you know, if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just such a cool venue to play and even go watch bands at because it's just it's just a huge theater, of course. But
Yeah.
well, me and him just kind of hit it off, and we connected with each other on Of Mice and Men, just a band. We got to talking about what bands we like to listen to, and he was like, "Man, I'm glad like nobody listens to Of Mice and Men, in the band I'm in." And then we kind of just hit it off, and then it kind of was like that spark of like a friendship, you know what I mean? And then we saw each other in passing a lot, Rocklahoma, stuff like that. Um, Shane's always anytime we somebody asks how we met, it's that, and then he always has this story of me just being plastered in at Rocklahoma and trying to make it back to my car. It's a funny story, but
Yeah.
that and then we started hanging out and just playing acoustic guitar together and you know learning songs with each other and seeing if we could cover them and And then we were like, we need a bass player, you know, like let's start a band. And so we searched around for a long time looking for just a bass player, you know, and all the other missing pieces, of course. But we came across Brandon, and he's just such a cool, like I said, genuine person. Like, and that's what we were really looking for. We just wanted genuine people, and not just people that were, you know, egotistical and just only cared about, oh, I can sweep 1,000 times, or, you know, really like, hey, like, what do you bring to the music, you know what I'm saying? Like, um and so we got Brandon, and then kind of just, it was just us three for a long time, and then we tried out a bunch of, you know, a bunch of drummers, and we were looking for singers, and we were just really writing music, and just trying to create something. And then we Tyler Perry came to town, and we, you know, we had already been writing songs together, and we just hadn't really solidified any kind of um, like solid music. You know what I'm saying? Like something that was, you know, viable, I guess. And well, when Tyler came, it was like, he was like, man, he said, I love you guys' the way you guys write together, and and the way you guys mesh, and the chemistry you have with each other. Um, and he really just was like a spearhead of like, let's do this. Let me. He was so like, for the longest times when he was coming out to open mic nights, he was just like, you guys need to let me be your singer. You know, let's start a band together. Like, let me be your singer. Come on. Like he was like messaging Shade 4 or 5 times a day, just like, hey man, like, what's up? Are we gonna get together? Or are we gonna, like, you know, what I'm waiting. And so eventually he was like, all right. And he got us with he's like, I have a place to practice, because we were practicing in this room. Can you imagine, you know, guitar amps, a drum set, and a full bass rig in, you know, a 12 by 12 room, you know, like it
Yeah.
was. So he was like, hey man, I got a practice spot. Let's it's over at Boomer's Audio. Like, come out, you know, let's set up there. It's we got plenty of room to set up a full PA and stuff like that. And kind of just that's where he got us. He was like, hey, and we were like, let's do it, you know, like, this is awesome. It'll be convenient for everybody to meet here, and so forth. But
Yeah.
it was, you know, that was what we needed, you know. And it just kind of happened all together. It was like, and we were all just surprised about everything that was happening with us. It was just like, things just kind of fell into place, and that's what really, um, you know, that's how we came about. It was like just being genuine people, and working with each other, and trying to create something that we all were on the same page about. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
And
man.
I mean, that's really how we really came together, and it was that's how we, you know, started.
That's what's up, man. Oh yeah. So how's it going so far?
Well,
I mean,
I mean, I know
it
some
looks
people.
good to me. I mean, it looks good to me, but I just mean just from your end.
Oh, for mine, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's going awesome, man. I think it's
Yeah.
going great. Like, we've had some great opportunities. You know, we've opened up for some bands that I've never thought that I would ever have the chance to open up for.
Mhm.
Um, Freaking Saving Abel, you know, Tantric, bands that I've listened to growing up, and Smile Empty Soul, stuff like that. Like, it's it's I'm grateful and appreciative of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
definitely a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? Like, I dreamed
Yeah.
of this stuff when I was a kid, and I'm finally getting to do things like that. You know?
Mhm. That's what's up, man. Oh yeah. Well, we got about we got about 6 minutes left till we'll wrap it up. Do you have any last ideas you want to share or thoughts, grievances?
Grievance.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily. Um, I mean, not necessarily. Like, I don't. I just honestly, if I wanted to tell anybody listening right now, just hey, just any young artist out there, any young musician, just be yourself, man, and just that'll get you farther than trying to be something that you built in your head or somebody else's said that you need to do this or do that. You know what I'm saying? Just be
Yeah.
you, and just it'll get you so much farther because people will appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out.
No,
Let's
thanks for having me.
yeah, let me do something real quick though. Let's see. Let people you guys have your own YouTube channel, right?
No, we do not. We just have that one video, Be Free, and that's
Okay.
that's the only thing that's on YouTube that we have.
Okay. As soon as my Wi-Fi decides to pick up. Okay, here we go. I was gonna put on the screen for anyone that hasn't seen the video just so they know where to go and know what the thumbnail looks like. Tell you what, let's do this instead. Pull up your artist page, and so that way anyone that's watching kind of knows because you got the video on your guys' artist page, right?
Yeah, it should be pinned at the top.
Let's see. My computer's not very nice when I've got a lot of
Oh, trust me, I
windows open.
know. You're like your computer's like, please stop putting more
Yeah,
weight on me.
pretty much. So yeah, I want to put this up on screen. But anyway, yeah, man. What do you think? Before I do this, what do you think the future is like? Because I know with the pandemic and everything, like I told people, like there's gonna be some type of change for music. Like we're kind of back to shows and tours, like you know, um, you know what I mean. So we kind of got that normality back, but as far as like how the industry is run, or at least, man, in most cases, how it is kind of just for us, like independently. Um, okay, I finally got that. What? So here's one theory I have, and it doesn't get talked about, but I definitely feel like there's going to be an economy for content creators with the whole rise of TikTok, and then you see all these other platforms that are doing reels, which is what TikTok started. But actually, I kind of want to throw in this like theory. It's not talked about. I don't know how many people are aware of it, and this is probably just a theory, but it's looking like this is what's going to happen. Like, okay, so for social media, like TikTok came up, they changed the whole game,
Oh yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
and so they became super popular, and then musicians and podcast hosts and other people, they found a way to like, okay, it's 60-second clip. I can do 60 seconds of my music video, and then I'll just have my Instagram on my profile and just tell people to click the link of my profile, just like I do on Instagram. And you know what I mean? And then there's you could do duets, like music duets, and so they found a way. So a lot of musicians, we found a way to kind of like adapt, which I always recommend when there's changes, within the music business or in general, you always kind of have to adapt. And
Yeah,
so then that happened, and so YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram said, "Well, fuck you, we can do it better than you." So
yeah.
Instagram made reels. And then they started to bury you in the algorithm if you didn't do a reel once a week. And then now they're starting to reward you, saying, "Hey, you'll actually get more reach." And then YouTube did it the same thing. They call it shorts, and they're actually pushing it. Like you have more of a chance of if you do shorts, you have more of a chance of seeing new people, depending on what the title and the topic is.
Mhm.
Uh, and then Facebook jumped on it, and so and then like I tell people, honestly, the reels on Facebook has gotten me a lot of new like followers and definitely a lot of new viewers.
Oh yeah,
So
I've,
I
I've noticed
recommend
that.
doing that. Just keep it in, keep it in your niche. Like even if I don't have anything music wise, content wise, I got videos talking about my favorite movies, uh, just different stuff. So like if you're a Had Enough fan, you're obviously probably gonna like horror movies. You'll like hip hop.
Hmm.
You'll like a little bit of your heavy metal. So I throw little things like that. So it kind of I'm at least attracting the right viewers as we like, or is off, which is also put target audience. So,
Right.
um, so my theory is this: is so Facebook is definitely pushing to fucking as far as that. Now TikTok is increasing the amount of time your videos have. I think at one point you could upload a video that's 10 minutes long. I know you can upload it for as long as 5 minutes. And not only that, TikTok has been telling me, "Hey, upload longer videos." So now they're like motivating their users to do that.
Hmm.
So what I'm thinking TikTok is trying to compete with YouTube to become the next YouTube. That's kind of my so with them making the videos longer is kind of what I'm thinking because YouTube is owned by Google. Google is the number one search engine on the internet.
Hmm.
YouTube being number two. And so I don't know. I think TikTok's trying to take YouTube spot.
Yeah,
So
I can see that for sure.
yeah, so I just think all these social media like websites and apps are all like fighting for, who's going to be top one, but that's
Right.
his business. There's always like, they're always going to try and outdo each other and stuff like that, but I feel like there might be some kind of increase. And I think there kind of needs to be some type of change. Um Definitely like MySpace was really good for us, and they let the spam bots get out of control, which a lot of
Yeah.
people don't talk about that, but that is definitely what drew a lot of people away from MySpace because I feel like there's just spam bots everywhere and there's not any real people. Instagram is starting to go through that right now. There was actually, I read about an Instagram model who had 1 million followers and she got outed for all her followers being fake, being bought.
Right.
Uh, she had 1 million followers exactly, and I think every post she had about 1,000 likes, but she would have like no engagement. And then finally,
Yeah.
someone's like, "How is it you have all these followers yet no one's commenting?" I mean, I think one person said like, "She's hot." He said she's hot. She's posting half naked pictures. Where are the thirsty guys at? Why are they not
Right.
commenting? Oh, you're so hot. I want to. Oh, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Right.
and I was saying like, I read this. And I was like, I'm on a. It'd be so funny if they said, "Can they hack her Instagram and find out they have no dick pics?" It's like, oh yeah, that's fake. She has no real followers. So that's how you find out. But yeah, that's happened a lot. So I think Instagram was starting to get flooded with bots, just like MySpace did. So so I think they're fighting that, and Facebook's got some Cash App scam going on, and dude, I can't even accept friend requests anymore because it's
Yeah.
always like, "Hey, I feel like being generous." The fuck you do?
Mhm. Yeah.
What's your Cash App? Oh god.
That's like with Twitter, man. There's so many people on Twitter that are like, drop your
Mhm.
cash out and I'll send you $5 or I'll send you this, and it's like you're just doing this to boost your page, and you're
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's ridiculous. Dang, Brandon.
yeah. I'm trying to catch up on. I promised everybody I'd put their comments up. So Let me say advertise now. Oh, this was funny. No, my girl Amy, she was like, my most viewed reel was me unknowingly imitating Brandon. That was pretty funny. People tell me whenever like I'm doing some selfie video or photo, I usually have my finger up or like this. I make a certain face and yeah, she did some selfie video. She did the exact same thing.
We all have our
I guess it's
quirks.
got like it went like 2,000 views or something like that. No, it might. The funny thing is, okay, so I have a reel, the biggest one I have. I have a few that are like 1,200 views. Some are like 300 to 700, and pretty decently. The one I did, it's the top 3 movies to destroy your soul with, and so it's like Serbian film. I did a part 2 that didn't even do half as well. It was so funny because people are complaining that Cannibal Holocaust wasn't in it. I did a part 2 that didn't do nearly as well. And so the part 1 is like, I think it just hit 12,000 views. This entire weekend, my phone was blowing up from comments, from likes, from new followers. And then I checked the reel, and then it's going from 7,000. And then the next hour it's 8,000. I'm like, what the fuck? Shares, it's got like 300 likes, 180 comments, I think like 99 shares, like 102 shares or something like that. So what was it? Yeah, I posted Tyler in a crop top. He got like 25,000.
And it wasn't even my page. I got like, I think it was like the second most viewed video on her page, and she was like, "This isn't even your page, and you're on it." Like you.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, here's let's see. Let me exit full screen. But yeah, man, anyone who wants to check out Tyler's band, Shelter in Place, man, they're an amazing band. And they got a sick ass music video. Shout out to Mosaic Productions. So,
Yes.
but yeah, go ahead and send them a follow. Hey, question. I always feel weird asking other people social media stuff because I try to learn it on my own, but it's okay. It's part of being humble. How did you guys get it where it's just follow and you got? I know this sounds weird, but this is supposed to be the new like outline where they Facebook's supposed to get rid of the likes where you just hit follow, and then you have everything. It shows like how many followers you have right here, and then how many you're following, and it's supposed to be like a professional profile, so page and then your category. Did this just happen, or did you guys figure out how to switch over? I'm kind of curious about that.
It just kind of happened, honestly.
You fuckers. I'm trying to get mine to flip, but there's also a way that you can combine your personal page to a business or artist page, and then it'll look like that, and then you'll still have your relationship status, and you can still. But what you can do is that you're able to choose who you still want to be friends and who you want to be followers. So like to me, where I kind of see the benefit in that. Say you have friends you're cool with, or they support your music, whatever, but they post a lot of like fucking negative shit or a lot of political views you could really care less about, but you're just like, man, if just stuff that kind of ruins your day, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, if I could just move them to where they follow, they just see my stuff. And then all the people who post stuff that you care about and that brighten your day, they're in the friends list, so you can see their stuff. So that's something I kind of thought about.
I've noticed that like when I get on like if I'm on my personal page, I notice that I see like all my friends, everybody that I'm friends with, even if I haven't talked to that person in ages, like I can still, their stuff still pops up on my feed, and I'm like, okay, now where are all the bands that I like their page or I follow their page? But when I don't know how that works with personal friends, but like I know if I go to my artist page or if I go to Shelter's page and go to the news feed on there, that was like something that was recently added some time ago. But if I go on the news feed, I can see all the bands that they follow and or that we follow on Shelter or that I follow on my my solo page. I can see more of those the bands that I follow and what they got going on rather than trying to look for it on my own personal Facebook news feed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a problem, and I've gone through my moments where I kind of wondered the purpose of a artist page sometimes, but no, they only let, I think, like between 2 to 5% of your followers see your posts on your artist page or your
right.
band page. And
Unless you give it money, unless you give them money and you're like,
yeah, here's the thing, man. I'm gonna do another podcast episode, probably a solo one, where I was gonna talk about this, because I was gonna talk about the ads thing, and I tell people, like, unless like you're releasing something and you're trying to get as many people possible to see it, like if you got a new single, new album, new music video, don't do the boost post.
okay,
If you can avoid it. If you do the boost post on an actual page, do it where you're doing the target audience. If you know what bands you sound like, which I'm gonna do a podcast episode on this to kind of show all the insight that I've learned, and you can get on YouTube and learn about it. But the cool thing about having a Facebook artist or business page is a target audience, and what you do is there's what's it called? I think I have it written down here. It's a website, and man, it is man, it's for every artist and band trying to build like a fan base or know like where they what their audience is. This is like the best website, and I can't think of the name on it. I think it's called like it's like Music Army something. I can't think of the name right now. Let me see. Let me do it right now because I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night knowing that I just left you
right.
guys on a fucking
I
cliffhanger.
want to know now.
Yeah, but it's real helpful. Let's see. So find bands you sound like. I'm trying to see what the name of the website is because it's real helpful. Find bands you sound like. I'll probably pull it up on here so you guys can actually see the um Okay, here it is. I'm about to pull it up.
All
I
right.
found it. All right. I'm glad I didn't give up on myself. So, because trust me, man, this website is like a godsend. Um, and I know, and here's the thing, man. This is one of the things. Two things I think a lot of musicians try to avoid. It's paying for advertisement, and it's admitting probably what bands or artists they sound like. Neither one of these are things you should be ashamed of or anything like that. Like paying for ads is not it's not part of my category of paying to play. It's definitely investment. So when you're paying
Yeah.
for ads, it's just like paying to be seen in a newspaper. So you're
Right.
you're getting the ability to be seen by people who probably don't see you on your news feed. So you're getting seen on other people's news feeds.
Right.
And then if you boost it, you have a chance of more of your followers seeing your stuff, which unless you're releasing an album or music video, I don't highly recommend that. It's kind of a waste of money.
Yep.
So, so here's what it's called: music. I can see it.
That's another
I'll
thing.
show
Is like,
you. I'll show you kind of how it works. It's actually here we go. Here we go. Now let me let's see. Pop this on the screen. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
that's another thing is like I've noticed if if I share like say you're releasing a new music video or something, if you share that music video on your artist page, it gets less views and less interactions if you post
Yeah.
it to your artist page rather than your personal one. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I've noticed it too. That just comes down to, well, it's just because of the percentage of people they let you see that they let
Right.
see it.
Yeah.
Now granted, the more
That makes
followers you
sense.
get, I will tell you, like once my page got to the 11,000 mark, I went to 11,400. I noticed the reach was getting bigger.
Hmm.
I mean, also it's just one thing I don't recommend though. Another thing, and I know you sometimes you kind of have to do it to get a kickstart. I kind of don't see the point in inviting your friends to that page because for the most part you'll be posting the same content, and so that might that might play a part in it too, where people's like, okay, I already saw this on your personal page. There's no point for me to like it, which a lot of
Right.
times I see both. I like both because I know the struggle.
Yes.
So anyway, here's here it is. It's music dash map.com. So let's do this. I'll use your band as example. Name one band you think you guys sound similar to. I know that's kind of a kick in the nuts, but just like okay, like they said, okay, would make it easy. Just make a band that you think inspired you guys the most.
Oof. Let's see. Let's just say Stone Temple Pilots.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can see that. Did you guys do a Stone Temple Pilot cover? I know we were talking about the having to do covers, but
we did. I don't think we did a Stone Temple Pilots cover. We did a Velvet Revolver cover. And,
okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And here you
Scott
go.
White,
Man, I wish this thing would. I'm new to this, so let me see how if I can get this to zoom in. That's
yeah,
the
those,
okay. I have to make it. I have to make it full screen. So when you typed in Stone Temple Pilots. So Audio Slave, Incubus, Perfect Circle, Deftones, Bush. So these are Silverchair, Everclear, the Toadies, Marcy Underground, Faith No More, Sublime, Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, Led Zeppelin. So these are all bands that are that are kind of the similar genre, or at least similar audience as Stone Temple Pilots.
right.
Alice in Chains, that's actually cool. You would do an Alice in Chains cover solo. Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam. So here's the thing for you guys: if you guys were to do an ad, try to reach new fans. And I tell everybody use a video, use a music video or any type of video. They always perform better than just like a photo or something like that, because that way people can see what you look like and what you sound like. And so this is something. So you guys can type in, Collective Soul, Audio Slave, Incubus, Deftones, Perfect Circle, Blind Melon, Foo Fighters, Faith, whatever bands you feel like, okay, we might. So really what you're doing, ironically, is you're actually attempting to steal other people's fans.
Right, yeah. Well,
it's almost like if you were to open up for Pearl Jam, let's say you think, well, their fans would like our shit. So it's almost kind of the digital way of you're performing in front of their fans. You think their fans would like your music. So that's kind of where the whole target audience comes into part. And every music marketer I've ever talked to just said this was the way to go. Now if you feel like you don't sound like anybody, or you're afraid of being thrown in that box, you can just pick your genre. Like you can put, rock, alternative rock, and then be like, all right, and then let it work in this way. But I've always heard like using bands that you feel you sound similar to, or you think their fan base would like your music too. I've read that this has been like the most, and I've done stuff like that. I've put, on some of my ads, I put Eminem, I've put Hobson, Tech Nine, Strange Music, around that area, and it's done fairly well. So also I put comic books, because apparently a lot of comic book fans like my stuff. So so stuff like that. So but anyway, man, I'm just throwing a little bug in everybody's ear. So if anyone wants
that's cool. That's cool as hell though. I like that.
Yeah. So it's music dash map.com. And then you can so it just gives you all these scenarios of bands and artists that it says you just got to pick one name. That's a well-known band, and then go from there. And so you can just write all those down, and then get on like put a Facebook ad, or put promote. There's a logo that you'll see. I can't see it from my end, but you can pick logo, promote, and it'll do an ad that's not going to go on your timeline. It'll go in the news feed, and it gives you all kinds of options. You can pick United States, Germany, Canada, pretty much anywhere in the world. You can even pick cities and states. If you're trying to attract more people here in Tulsa, just pick Tulsa, Oklahoma. So a lot of times when I'm about to tour, I'll just pick the states that I'll be touring in if I do like an ad trying to reach new people. So I've done that before, but I recommend doing United States. Um, because you'll actually can kind of bring in a good diversity of fans from different cities and states, and then from there you can find out because in the creator studio, or at least you can look on your analytics and you can find out, okay, what's the biggest city that you have the most fans in.
Right.
For me, it's always been like Texas and New York, and
Yeah,
then
that's the same with us. Is like
yeah,
we
yeah,
get
yeah.
on
So
our art Spotify for artists, and it like
yeah, it works
it
the
always
same way. It
says
works the same way.
Texas, and I'm like, man,
Yeah,
I guess that's where we need to target our
yeah,
where we want to go play at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And to give you like the insight, that's kind of how a lot of booking agents look whenever they're booking tours for their artists. They're looking. They will look at their analytics and they'll find out where they're getting the most listens because, like, well, that's where the majority of their fans are at. So and that's why there's certain cities like, and that kind of that helped me like years ago when I first started booking tours, when I first started being a promoter. There were bands and there were artists I was booking who looked like they looked like they were pretty decently big, but like they had like maybe 4 fans here in Tulsa.
right.
And I can't remember what band it was. I know they had a song on the soundtrack of like Saw 6 or something, or Saw 4, one of the Saw. And then I just said, "You're on the soundtrack of Saw. Like, I figured you guys would have more fans." And they said over on the East Coast and they said the East Coast and then the West Coast in Canada. They said this place is packed out. This video would
Yeah,
be packed out. He said we're just not real known on this part of the Midwest. And then I said, well, Oklahoma, we are kind of a C market, so we're like
yeah,
right under Texas, ironically, and so yeah, it is what it is. So, but yeah, but anyway, that's my little you know my that's the end of my school education classroom for music marketing, I guess. So
yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
the
but,
musicmac.com, that was awesome. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I had a music marketer tell me that. I was like, he says if you don't know like who you think you will fit in with, find one artist. He said do this. Like if you have to, ask your friends, because a lot of times you'll think you sound
Sound
like
like
so and so, but a lot of times you kind of want to ask like a listener. So just like, who do you think you would fit in with? And they'll tell you, and then just go on that website, type it in, and they'll tell you all these different bands and artists that are similar and sounding, and yeah, it's a great way to find like new followers and stuff like that. Also, one last thing, and I'll shut up. um, when you do ads, try to keep it like 2 to 4 days. I'd say spend about, if you can afford it, you can get a good reach if you spend about $10 to $20 a day. I would say at least at minimum like 5 to 10, because then it'll at least try to reach you up to like 1.2, like 1,200 people, or to try to get like to where it reaches 12,000 people like a day. And then if you have like the money to like increase it, you'll get like a lot of reach. It's kind of like the more the merrier kind of thing. So
right.
and this
Yeah.
is just this is just me because I've experimented with this stuff for a lot of times. So I can tell you how to accidentally spend a shit ton of money and not get many results. I can tell you how to spend a little less money and you'll get a lot of results. So but yeah, man, if you're trying to build up the artist page is really the best way. I just from what I've acknowledged. Now, if you're doing cat videos, you won't have to do a lot of that. Just post cat videos and Facebook will
Yeah,
show you to everybody.
yeah,
Fuckers.
right.
So because
What's
there
up
was
with the like the videos of people being in grocery stores and getting like bananas and like doing weird stuff with them? Like I see those a lot on
clickbait.
no, yeah,
You,
it's
you
just
see a
clickbait.
video with somebody like you see a video with somebody like trying to fuck his friend in the ass with a banana, you're gonna watch it. So it's gonna get a million. It's gonna get tons of shares. People like, what the fuck is this? Just
Yeah,
the dumbest shit gets. That's another problem, but that's a human problem. The dumbest tons of views. But I can't act like I'm too high and mighty because there's videos I've watched where it was dumb and I couldn't help but laugh a little.
Yeah, for sure.
You
No,
know,
yeah, for
but
sure.
but that's just entertainment. Like, why did I enjoy Beavis and Butthead and Family Guy? It was just mine. South Park. It's mindless entertainment. Sometimes it's okay. It's okay to take a couple hours out of a stressful day and just watch something
Watch
mindless.
something. Yeah,
Just as long as you don't let yourself consume that 24/7.
yeah.
So, but it's okay to take a couple hours of the day and say, yeah, okay, I'll watch some.
Get a couple laughs in.
The ones the ones I hate are the ones that have the little clickbait title, and then you watch the video thinking something's gonna happen, and then it doesn't.
Oh yeah, like trying to cook
Nothing happens.
trying to cook a steak in a microwave or something, or some
Yeah,
dumb shit like that, and it just goes on and never gets to the point, and then the music or the video ends, and you're like, I I didn't even get you didn't even get me there.
yeah. Also, we were mentioning YouTube channels. This is kind of common knowledge, but if you can get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, you can get monetized on YouTube. So basically, you get paid per video.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd recommend you guys pull up a YouTube channel. I mean, you already got a music video. Get live footage of every show if you can, but definitely get footage of you guys like at practice, like fucking around and
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever you guys do. Like get a lot of like vlog, which is something I'm gonna start doing. I've done it a couple of times. Where I had like little vlog footage of setting up at the show and all that. So I'm gonna start doing more of that. But
That's what we want
yeah,
to do. We want to do more like practices and what just goofy stuff that we do a lot of dumb shit together, as a band, and that's what
yeah,
we want to show people like, hey, we have fun and
mhm,
and do goofy shit or
yeah,
what we do just on the regular. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
like,
yeah. It kind of helps because people kind of see the human side of you, and that's kind of the part of now with social media that I was kind of talking about. Like you can easily adapt to where you don't have to do dancing TikTok videos.
right.
You can just have videos of just kind of probably what you do like in during the day or something like that. What's your morning routine? But also just having someone film you guys, just even if it's just acting stupid or you left band practice and you all got your sunglasses, jump in the car to go get like Taco Bueno or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Stuff like that. If it's really, if you guys think if you think all of you are entertaining, then there's probably going to be people on the internet that are going to find it entertaining, or they'll think they're boring, or they'll think, okay, these guys are dumb. Fuck their band.
Right.
So, but either way, but yeah, man, I think exposing the humanity part outside of the music helps a lot. So that's kind of, I mean, that's why people watch documentaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
think about it. They everyone wants the behind the music story, and that's something I kind of reminded myself of. It's so I've been, but the thing about it is you gotta find somebody to hold the fucking phone or the camera.
Yeah.
So
Somebody's got to be out of the picture for a little second, or we got
yeah,
to find somebody for sure.
true. Well, anyway, man, I'll go ahead and cut it off. We're always these things always go to an hour and a half, but um, anyway, man. So yeah, everybody definitely, if you haven't, definitely follow Shelter in Place. If they get a YouTube channel anytime soon, definitely subscribe. Check out the new video. What's the name of the new video again?
It's called Be Free.
Hell yeah, be free. Check it out. All right, man. I'll go ahead and shut it down. You have a good night, man.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
For sure, man.
Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. I do scheduled for Thursday evening. It is a hip hop group from Des Moines, Iowa. They got a new project coming out, so they want to come up and talk about it. So So yeah, man, thank you guys again for tuning in, commenting. If you shared the video, I appreciate it. If you liked it, that helps out as well. Tell us Facebook people give a shit about me. So that helps the reach and the algorithm and all that stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm done ranting. You guys have a good night.